Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. You're an irredeemable monster. You're horrible. You're horrible. we've got Jordan Christensen on the podcast.
Shoot, I don't have a quote.
Oh, there's so
It's
many.
time to talk about
Untitled
good
Chapter.
ethical business practices.
He just introduced
Dude.
somebody else. I can't think of one right now.
All right, dude. There's so many quotes.
Puss
Dude,
and
anything
boots.
from Jack Horner, dude. Anything from him. It's like, tighten up the glutes. I need to get across this bridge. I need a
Say it.
solid platform. And we've got Tatiana Christensen on.
I'll get you, my kitties, and your little dog, too.
We've got Cameron Mickle on the podcast.
What did I do to deserve this? I mean, specifically.
I like all the quotes are coming from him.
Dude, this is my favorite part of the whole thing. Jiminy Cricket and John Mulvaney playing Jack Horner. Funniest thing. Grant Mickle is also on the podcast tonight.
I can't think of any quotes.
Just say, fear me if you dare. You guys, nothing.
Meow? Did I say something salty?
So
Sorry, my second
this
language.
is where dignity goes today.
Yes, when he's like on that squatty, not a squatty potty, but when he was on the, what is it?
Litter
litter
box.
Litter
box.
box.
Yeah. All the cats looking at him, just staring at him like, are you done? Just this huge invasion of privacy, personal space. So good. Yeah, guys, this movie was great. It's like reminded me of Shrek. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And scary. It's so scary. I watched with my kids. I think they were really worried. It's like the literal embodiment of death played by the wolf. He was amazing.
Yeah, Cassie said she looked over at her at Caitlin and her face was like terrified, and so she's like,
Dude, his red glowing eyes, the two sickles, the
She just
cape,
muted
the
it.
hood. Terrifying. So, guys, today, what are we talking about? We're talking about Puss in Boots, Wish Upon a Star, or something like that.
The last
The
wish.
last
yeah.
wish.
Final wish.
The Last Wish.
and
The last
I,
melody.
I apologize. Ty doesn't have his mic. Just letting people know.
Yeah, everybody, we are majorly suffering from audio and lighting. I'm in a hotel. This is the best they could hook me up with. So, but we got to get into this movie, and then afterwards we're going to be talking. Is it the same episode? Or are we
Yeah,
gonna do
this is
two episodes?
episode 250. We're gonna
This is
do.
episode 250.
We actually made it to 250. There was a few
We
times I thought we
did.
were gonna end this podcast.
We're
but
gonna burn out. Yeah, we've had a few disagreements, a lot of fallen brethren,
a few
along
road
the
bumps, but we made it.
way. A few speed bumps on the highway. Yeah. But here we are, folks. This is amazing.
And I missed
you
all
know
the
what?
drama. I was just along for the ride.
That's right. Yeah. You're an irredeemable monster, Frank. Dude, whoever's playing Jiminy was doing his best impression of Jimmy Stewart. I loved it.
It was so
Oh,
good.
there's good in everyone. And then
So
he
what?
like takes
What do you do? I just judge you.
I judge your character.
I
I'm
judge
gonna
your
judge your
character.
kid. He's just like, there's good in everyone. I've really got my work cut out for me. And then it's like, I'm your ethical bug, or I'm your conscience.
It
He's
was
like,
it
what
was
are you-
Kevin McCann.
Oh, Kevin McCann, dude, he was so great. And he was like, what did he say? He was like, there's good in everyone. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Michael Scott in that episode where he's on that TV show with the puppets, and he's like, what do you wish for? He's like, I wish I had 100 children or 100 kids. Then when they all
And they
grow
could
up,
all
they'd
be
all
my
like
friends.
best friends, and they could never say no to me or something. And the puppet's like, his mouth is agape. He's like, okay, well, man. It reminded me of that where Jiminy Cricket's listening to Jack Horner's story, and Jack is like, oh, when I was a kid, everyone loved the magical puppet. You know, it's Pinocchio. Dude, okay, wait, side note, that also reminded me of the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, the short where Dudley and Liam Neeson is doing that puppet show, or like the 7 years ago, and the Declaration of Independence and all that stuff. And then he's replaced by a chicken, and Liam Neeson just leaves Dudley to die out in
Yes,
the wilderness.
I
Remember that?
totally thought
That's
of
what it
that.
made me think of. That's what it made me think of. Watch Ballad of Buster Scruggs, the one with Liam Neeson and Dudley from Harry
Yeah, people
Potter.
are more interested in the chicken than they are with the
Yes.
like history.
Yes.
Just
And
like they're
Jack
more
Horner
interested
was-
with Pinocchio. Yeah. I've always been a real boy.
I know, I love it. He's so bitter. And he's just like, so going back to Michael Scott when he's like, I just want all the magic for myself and no one can. Is that too much to ask? He's like, yes. Agree to disagree. He's so good. Guys, we have like a genuinely evil, non-relatable villain, and I loved it. I'm all for that. Like, he's gonna stick in my head longer than most of the villains I've seen in movies today. They always try to make them anti-heroes, or you can see their perspective. He has no. He's just like you could argue when he was a little kid. He's like,
True.
what did I have to inherit? Good parents, wealthy pie factory, useless crap like that. Like it was so good, and he's like, he had everything given to him, and he just is evil. And he has like this pudgy, chubby face like me, an awful haircut, and like creepy British teeth. It
Yeah,
was
the
so
worst
funny,
haircut I've ever seen.
so good. And he's just this giant man with a small head and big hands. He
Oh,
was so great. He
And
was so great.
they had so many great movie references. Like when he pulls out Excalibur and he couldn't get the rock out because he's unworthy.
Yeah.
It's like it's got this useless rock attached to it. Love it. Just cut it out. Or my favorite too one was the Phoenix. Like it's this gorgeous. He's like, that's a majestic creature. And he just like grabs
He
it by the
has a
Uses a
flamethrower.
flamethrower.
It's a great flamethrower. I don't care how many of my men I have to burn. Don't get in the way of the flame. So good. Dude, I was thinking Mad Max when they come flying out of that chariot, all the baker's dozen are
Oh,
hanging on the
yeah.
side with sledgehammers, and then you think
Yeah.
of freaking like Mad Max Fury Road, dude. It was nuts. So
Oh,
I'm like,
That's funny.
There
You
were so
can't-
many great references.
you can't be when he first shoots Jiminy Cricket, I got this locust. Fly, deforest, kill this whole butt, and he's just like, I've got a locust. I'm your son." It's so good. It's so funny. It's such memorable characters, dude. And I almost think that Puss almost takes the side car seat or whatever to John
Yeah.
Mulaney's villain.
He's
and
almost
Jiminy
like
Cricket.
Big Trouble in Little
Wolf.
China, Kurt Russell.
Yes, 100% agree. They're characters that are so memorable. But you're glad that Puss kind of like holds the whole story together. He's like his story of mortality because you had three antagonists. You had Jack Horner, you had Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and you had um the wolf. All like that's a lot to juggle. Like, see, a lot of people thought Spider-Man 3 had too many villains. You can do three villains in a movie and successfully make them all kind of want something, right? You got Goldilocks' story was wrapped up neatly. Even though she was probably my least favorite part, the bears were really annoying. I don't know. I like half the bears. One of the
I
little baby
love the
bear
bears.
did
I don't know
die.
what you're talking about. Maybe you just don't have a soul.
You don't have a soul.
Yeah, the bears and their accents were great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me, Marla. I do like Papa Bear. And Goldilocks, I don't know why Goldilocks annoyed me. I'm like, she didn't appreciate her family. And
I
she's
know.
all
I
like, I
love
can't wait
that she
to.
learned the lesson though.
Yeah, she didn't learn the right thing. It's just
Yeah, Ty,
slow moving.
did you finish this movie, Ty?
Of course I finished it. Yeah, she learns to like him, but I'm like, how did you not like him? They were right in front of you all along.
Because she was an
anyway.
orphan.
Dirty orphan. She was a ginger too, I think. Cameron, what was it like watching it the first time?
I don't think she was a
for the
ginger
podcast?
when her name is Goldilocks.
I don't know. It was voiced by Lawrence Pugh. She annoys me. Hey, Papa, I'm a little Goldilocks. I don't know. It just annoys me. To me, it was cringe-inducing. Maybe it wasn't to you. It's fine. Jack Horner more than made up for it.
I enjoyed it. I got
was-
teary-eyed when she realized her family was right in front of her the whole time.
Yeah, I
Oh
thought it
my
was
gosh.
beautiful.
Me too.
That's
Only
okay.
people with a soul thought it was beautiful.
That's okay. You guys might have thought it was beautiful. I was clutching my pillow, terrified of the wolf.
Yes.
I was like, this is a nightmare. This is a horror movie scene in a kid's movie. It
Yeah.
reminded me of like Pinocchio. It reminded me of like, if you know what I'm talking about in Pinocchio, the scene where the kid turns into a donkey. And also the guy that owns the donkeys is like, they don't come back as boys. His face turns into the devil. Scary stuff like that it used to exist in kids' movies. Lobo had it, dude. He was death incarnate, red eyes. He was just slowly menacing, like taunting Puss the whole movie. And he's just like, you didn't appreciate any of your 9 lives. It was just so eerie. Like he was enjoying it. It's very scary.
I know. I just love. He's like, I love the smell of fear, and he just and that whistling. Oh my gosh! Every time. It
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got
This
chills
was
every time. That
horrifying.
was crazy.
And then Puss's
tight.
hair is raising on his
Did you think
arms.
of
So
Nacho
eerie.
Libre with the coins in the eyes? I love when he put them on his eyes and then points at him. So, so
Yes,
good.
that did.
But
That was good.
he asked Cameron what was it like watching the first time
Yeah, it was like watching it for the first
before we
time.
talk about the whole movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
know, right?
the first time going into it, I was not really looking forward to watching it.
As was
Um,
everybody else, Cameron.
I wanted to see it. It was
Oh.
just
so
I
many
did wanna
people
see
had
it.
recommended it to me, and even like my best friends were saying like, dude, it's amazing. And like it's pretty hard for like, and even you guys saying it was really good. I was like, okay, everyone whose like opinion I actually trust is saying it's good, but still I was just like, okay, this is because I
How
think
good
I
can it
watched a little
really
bit of
be?
the first Puss in Boots, and I was just like, this is just the most generic, basic like
Yeah, I
DreamWorks
watched the first
whatever.
one. No, okay,
And
I got a story to tell you about that after, about my daughter watching the first one. Because okay, it doesn't. I'll just explain it now really quick. My daughter, we showed her the trailer for Puss in Boots 2, and she was so excited to see it, and then we didn't have it available. So because we were gonna go to the movies and watch it, but we're like, that plan fell through. So we were like, we'll just watch Puss in Boots 1, and we watch it. And then after the movie, my daughter's like, that wasn't the movie you showed me the trailer of. She's 4 years old. She's 4 years old. And she was so
That's
unhappy
funny.
because she's like, I wanted to see the therapy dog. I wanted to see like my daughter remembered things from the trailer. And then she was like, that was not the same movie that you showed. I'm like, my daughter's too smart. I couldn't lie to her. I was like, yeah, you're right. It was the wrong movie, but we will watch Puss in Boots 2 someday. Anyway, I just had to get that. Yeah, Cameron, I agree. First Puss in Boots was me. It was just fine. It's
yeah,
not very
like
good.
it's so forgettable. Literally,
It took
all I
itself too
remember,
seriously,
and I
unlike
don't
this
even know,
movie, which was
I
so
don't even know if
fun.
I like remember anything about it. But so just going into this, I was like, oh brother, this will be interesting. Um,
It's a
and
Jack and the Beanstalk story with Humpty Dumpty as the villain, played by Zach Galifianakis, if you must know.
Okay.
Which sounds
Okay.
better on paper, but it
I know it does
literally
sound
took
good.
itself it took itself too seriously. That was the problem. Like it was like straight face. Humpty Dumpty is like a serious character, and you're like, I mean, that's pretty bold, but like this is a Shrek spinoff. Like it should have been like this movie nailed it. It was like it's supposed to not take itself seriously. It's supposed to have fun. The movie's like depressing. Humpty Dumpty's like an
Dang.
orphan. They're orphans. They grow up together. It's dude, what's with the orphans in this story? Anyway, okay, keep going.
Yeah, so just wasn't looking forward to it, and so I kind of just
Yeah.
like I I actually started it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start playing like on my DS while watching this, and then like the first little bit, I was like, oh, the animation, because it obviously reminded me a lot of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, just like that first action scene with the giant, and so I was
Mm,
like, oh wow, that's actually like really impressive, and
cool animation too. Like it
yeah,
switches. Yeah, in Spider-Verse, the choppy comic book kind of animation. Loved it.
Yeah, the no
Were
motion
they
blur.
involved at all? Were they involved at it all or not? Like, or at least that animation style totally hits with me. Like watching it, it's super
Yeah,
exciting.
it does remind me. It's not the same studio because that's Sony.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, okay,
I mean, maybe
I
it's the
loved it.
same animation studio. I don't know actually, but
Right.
it's a similar animation. It did remind me of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, and they changed it obviously because you had the
Yeah.
one type of animation, but for the action
Well, I
scenes,
think
Just the
more
action.
studios are probably willing to try it now
Yeah.
because of how
oh
well
yeah,
Spider-Verse did. You know,
success.
like, oh,
Yeah.
let's try that.
Yeah.
Let's take exactly. Let's take from them. But it works because I like that it kind of feels different almost, you know. But keep going, Kim.
um but yeah, so I was just really impressed. Like the kind of the beginning hooked me, and I just thought all the characters were really interesting. And there wasn't like a single character that I was like, oh brother, let's keep it going. Which a lot of times in kind of shows like that, they kind of have characters where you're like, all right, we can skip over this, and it actually does nothing. So I was just really impressed by that, and I actually started rewatching it with
You're thinking of Truly Scrumptious and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Her entire song where she sings after the Dick Van Dyke leaves with his kids. I'm like, what is her motivation? She's the daughter of a wealthy millionaire that owns Toot Sweet's factory, and what's her deal? She likes Dick Van Dyke. It's bad. Anyway, we always get that song growing up. I'm assuming that's the one you're talking about, right?
No, that was not what I was talking about. Not even in the slightest. Anyway, like I was saying, yeah, I just was really impressed by that, and actually started to rewatch it with Kels, and I was just like surprised overall how much like I enjoyed the characters and just overall how much like it actually made me feel. I was like, wow, this is impressive, that making me feel all these like different emotions. So I was very impressed.
Cameron's like, I feel something.
Yeah.
Cameron
It's just
cried in this movie.
it's very also out of my realm because I'm very rarely ever go into like the like feel good. I'm more like I love sad movies and like serial killer movies. So very rare for me to be feeling
The
such
wolf.
good feelings.
He's the voice on Narcos. I think he was doing it for you,
Yeah,
though,
he's
right?
Pablo. Yeah.
He was so
Yeah,
good.
terrifying. That voice, so
Yeah.
hollow.
So good.
Hey, y'all, is
Great.
that cool if I go next? Because I actually have to leave in a few minutes.
Oh yes,
Oh.
everybody. Tatiana, what was it
Okay.
like watching it for the
Well,
first
that
time?
is
when you watched
definitely the
it?
type of movie that I do go and watch. I love the feel goods. So when Jordan said he was down to watch that on Valentine's Day, I was like, yes, please. But I had never seen the first one. I had no idea even that it was bad. And then we got in. I actually wasn't super connecting yet in the very beginning, the very first like song, and until they start showing Puss be humbled when he's like growing that beard and he's just like hit rock bottom, like,
Broke it
okay,
down.
I'm intrigued now, like what's gonna happen, like the character growth, and
Who
I
was your
loved it. We actually
favorite
ended up watching it
fearless
later.
hero that wasn't doing it for you, Tatiana?
Well, then when we watched it later, because after we got home, we tried watching a couple of things. We're like, nothing is as good. So we just started watching Puss in Boots again, like, because we seen it in theaters and then we started watching it at home. And
Oh, I love
I
it.
was like loving everything that time. I was like, oh, I like this
Yeah.
first song. Yeah.
It's
And
great when you have context of, how lonely he is, right? The facade of being everyone, like this Cape Crusader, kind of like a Zorro in a way. And then you find out he's just like a loner that no one truly knows or cares about, right? He doesn't have friends or family. It's great.
yeah, and since I have to leave soon, I'll just say real quick. Some of my favorites are like,
Mm.
it's like the comedy in general, I could say is a favorite, but also, yeah, like, I don't know, the messages, the growth. I especially love that the puppy is like the contrast of the puppy's attitude compared to the cats. They're so negative and he's so positive.
Well, what's so great is that he's a dog, and dogs are so loving and forgiving,
Yeah.
and cats are like
Yes.
evil.
And cats just
Hi,
they
I'm
just put
Puss's
up
therapy dog. One of
walls.
my favorite lines.
Yeah, the
So
cats
great.
just put up walls. They chose to be cynical. They chose to like not believe or trust in anyone. And the dog trusts everyone and looks for the best in everyone. And I love that the girl cat grows by the end and that she chooses to trust, even though she like there wasn't like a guarantee that Puss wouldn't break her heart again. She was like, I don't know. I love it.
He was running away and did break her heart. It's just a misunderstanding. So good. Love it. So, oh wait, so you shared your two favorite. Jordan, why
And
don't
my
you
first
go?
experience.
And your first experience. Yeah, Jordan, keep going.
Yeah.
First
So
experience, two favorite.
I was pushing this on everybody, and like everybody, like even people at work that I never talked to. I'm like, have you seen Puss in Boots?
Have you seen Puss in Boots? Yeah, everyone should see it.
And I was texting it to like everyone because after watching it Valentine's Day, I just like, this is amazing. I first heard about it from YMS, and then I checked Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, what in the world? Like, why does it have this good of ratings? And then I after like that, I was like, okay, I'm willing to try it out. And then after trying it out, I'm like, okay, everybody needs to see this. And then I'm like, this has to be like on par with Paddington 2, which I haven't seen yet. I know, I'm sorry, Ty, but I'm gonna watch it.
I thought you did watch it.
I
Or was
know,
it
I need
Cameron?
to.
Who watched it?
Keep trying to
Cameron
convince
and
the
Grant, have
family
you
when
watched
we
it?
get. I keep trying to convince the
Okay.
family when we get together. I'm like, let's watch it, and they're like, oh, it doesn't look any. I don't want to see it.
I've
We-
never
okay,
heard you
we-
suggest that, by the way.
I have.
Okay, we are all.
You suggested it
watching-
one time and I didn't want to watch it.
Every
Yes,
time,
Cameron's
Cameron.
responsible.
Every
Okay,
time.
guys, when we get together, instead of watching Raya the Last Dragon, we're gonna watch Paddington 2 together with the fam.
Let's do it.
Together.
I want to watch Good Burger with the family because Elise hasn't seen that either.
And all of
You
us
can
laughing
watch
at
that
it
on your
would
own
be really
time.
fun.
You watch it on your own time. But
No,
we're
we
watching
need to watch
Paddington
it.
with the kiddies. Everyone's gonna have a great time. It's an amazing movie. Just you wait. I thought you said you watched it. Who was it
You
that said they
wait.
watched it?
Henry Higgins.
Yeah, just you wait, Henry Higgins.
Just you
Ty,
wait.
you just said just you wait.
Just you wait.
That's
Oh,
what you
is that
just said.
Goldilocks?
Yeah.
Just you wait. Oh, was I quoting?
So
Henry Higgins? What is
yeah,
that?
I was quoting My Fair Lady.
Oh, it's been too long. All right, Cameron, what's your two favorite things from this movie?
Did Grant share what it was like watching for the first time?
Don't
It was
nobody
good.
cares.
Go, Cameron.
Nobody cares.
Um,
See, nobody cares.
I mean,
Dotson,
like
we got Dotson here.
my favorite thing of the movie is easily not even close. Like the wolf. I think death. I
Yeah.
think, I mean, anyone that does the, what's it called? What is that weapon called?
Grim Reaper. Oh, the sickle.
The
Sickle.
sickle. I just think
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the sickle, as and especially dual wielding sickles, I was like, this is so sick.
Just
And I
dragging him along the floor. So creepy. He's scratching against the
see,
stone.
and it's see, I was actually very impressed because I think the best part about him is that the fear of him is so show don't tell.
Yeah.
Because they could have easily shown you like I was there every day. Like they could have been like, here's me there, here's me, like, and I was just been like, oh brother. But I love the fact that like his only interaction, like his first interaction with him, the wolf is just like so nonchalant, just essentially like, oh yeah, I can do whatever I want. You're pathetic. He's just like, you're getting slow, you're getting sloppy. He's like, you're not living up to the legend. And he just like drags his face across the bar. I was like, oh snap. And then I think it's super cool, especially even at the end, he says in Spanish, I was like, because I was curious of what he said, because I knew he was talking about something with food. And then I read the subtitles or in IMDb, and it says that he asks, oh, why did I play with my food? Because he's mad that essentially Puss like progressed as a character to where now he doesn't have a reason to kill him. And so he's just like, I should have just killed him when he was arrogant and cocky. And I just love even and honestly, I was so happy too because I'm like, if Puss beats Death, this movie's gonna suck. And I loved how Puss even said like, I know there's no way I can ever beat you. And then but how Death was just essentially like, yeah, you kind of ruined it for me. I was like, I wanted to kill you when you were like cocky and
Maybe he'll
prideful.
come
But
back someday, though.
yeah,
Yeah, he'll
I
come
love it
back.
though. Yeah, how he does say he's just like, this isn't over. Like I'm obviously gonna claim your soul, but like I guess for now you're good.
Dude, I
And
was thinking, oh, Brother Where Art Thou, that Oh Death song, dude. Oh my gosh.
I just think it's so cool,
I
especially
went
for a
from it.
villain like that, because a lot of times people will build up a villain in the beginning and then it's like it's an unbeatable villain, and then the protagonist beats the villain in the final act, and you're like, I thought he was unbeatable. And so I just loved the fact that how he actually was unbeatable, and how it was only the wolf could have stopped the wolf. Like, and how essentially he was just like, you're not worth it anymore. Like I played with my food and now like no longer have the appetite for you. So I thought he was amazing. I was
Well,
also
take it easy. We know what you're going as Halloween next year, all right? Take it easy. Man. High
I,
praise.
I also was really impressed. That's why I think it's funny that Ty didn't like it. I actually love Goldilocks and the Bears. They're
Oh,
actually
yeah.
my like second favorite part. I just was really impressed at kind of the dynamic of that, because I've always thought it was the dumbest like kids whatever
Story.
story or
Oh,
whatever. I'm like,
I actually did like that the baby bear did not like Goldilocks. I liked
yeah,
their banter. I like that because I was like, this this chick breaks into their home and eats their food and breaks their furniture. I mean, it's a story about a vandal breaking into your home, a vagrant. You come home and this intruder's still sleeping in your bed. I'd be like, I'd feel super violated.
yeah.
It's a crazy story.
No, and but I just think it's super cool how and I thought they played it really well, how her wish was to like get like a real family, and how that ended up like coming out, and how she's like, well, like you guys are great, but like I want a real family. And just kind of like I feel like I don't know, I just feel like it was a really good message overall, because there's a lot of times you can be like, I want the like perfect this or whatever, and then you don't like, you're not
Or
present
you
enough to
suggest you want
recognize
a
what you
better
actually do
family.
have. And that's what I thought it did, like it was a little on the nose, but I thought it was good enough to where like it wasn't super explicit, like, oh, every family is the one that met. Like I just thought it was done like subtly enough that I was like, okay, like this is a really good message.
Cameron's like, don't you guys sit around wishing that you had a different family? I know I do
I
every
know, I'm
day.
like, this is so relatable. I wish I had an actual family.
Every day. If I had the star, I would wish for a new
I'm
family.
like, can I have a normal family, please?
Can I have a normal family?
Where all
I
my
love it.
siblings have the same last name?
Oh, Cameron, I'll change my name to Mickle. I have no problem with that. All right, and Grant, how about you, man? Two of your favorite things.
I agree with Cameron on the wolf thing, and he already went through all that. But just the humor throughout, like I was very surprised. I went in with no expectations, and I was laughing the whole movie, which was really enjoyable. I just think I like the dog a lot. Like he was probably one of my favorite characters. Just like, and I love too, like how when
Am I
the two
doing
cats.
His eyes popping out of his head.
Yeah. Like I
Trying to
love too when
yes.
the two cats touch the map, it turns into like all these like super like difficult obstacles to get across, and then the dog it's just like
Yes.
smell the
It's
roses.
Pocket full of posies.
Yeah, I thought that was really clever. So,
But this isn't my journey. Hold the map. Oh, okay.
Doesn't it? Oh my gosh! Even that too, with the saddest scene that they played off, where he's like, "I was even they stitched me a sock and put
oh
a
yeah,
rock
threw me in the river.
bottom of the river." You're like,
And I gnawed away. I gnawed a hole
darkest
through it
thing.
and swam to the surface, but I never found my litter mates or my family.
And now I got this awesome scarf. So who's
I
up
guess
and
I'm
down? You're
it
just like,
now.
yeah, I guess I'm it.
I guess
And
I'm
I
still
love,
it.
I love Puss
Still
and
it.
Soft Paws are both just like,
Horrified with their
that is
hearing.
the saddest funny story I've ever heard.
Yeah. So those are my two favorites for sure.
Love it, Jordan. How about you, man?
Yeah, everything that everyone has already said, I absolutely loved. And on top of that, I mentioned it already, but the references, there was even a moment when the cat's doing that like walk and like you see his face and it's like fading as he's walking. That's actually from, and the music, I played them side by side. They're almost, they changed it up a little bit because they're parroting it, but it's what's that Matthew McConaughey one I keep recommending, that TV show with
Oh,
Woody
True
Harrelson?
Detective.
Yeah, it's parroting True Detective, the opening scene. It's
Oh,
so good. Like I just as I saw that, I'm like, yes, like a kids movie that's making like references that only, you know, adults are gonna understand and get. Like I just love that it's not like inappropriate humor, but it's jokes for the parents. And I appreciate.
And cinephiles.
Yes.
Only you would get that. You're like, oh, it's a reference to a super dark crime show.
Yeah. Well, and so many other things when you see it, like the Phoenix. I'm assuming that's from Harry Potter, or I'm sure it goes back further. But
I think it's
Yeah, it's
just
just a generic fantasy.
okay,
character.
that's what I
Right, but-
thought. But then Tatiana's
no,
like,
to
no,
be
that's definitely
fair-
Harry Potter, and I'm like, I thought it was just generic.
To
But
be fair,
Yeah.
well, the creature exists outside of Harry Potter and
Yeah, that's what I
pre Harry Potter, obviously. But to be fair, like all the different ones, like a magic carpet that
Yeah,
flies. There's like
Aladdin, yeah.
very obvious.
look, I'm
things
stepping on
that
a magic carpet.
point at it. King Midas's finger, all
Yeah.
those fables. And I
Yeah.
love he's like, I'll take some of these. And then when he has the unicorn horns and he's firing them at
Ty,
his own
baby
gun,
unicorn horns.
baby unicorn starts firing, and it pokes the guy in the rear, and he's like, oh, and there's just like bursts into confetti. It reminded me of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, it was so
Yes.
funny.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just like, it was so shocking. And he's just like, it's not you got in the way of my shot.
The sight must be a little
more.
off.
The sight's off.
I love
Oh,
too when he I
no.
love when he turns like the two people who bring in the map, like he turns one of them to gold and then the other guy like puts him in the like thing, just wheels him away. It's like,
If you
thanks.
see we carry our weight in gold, and he's literally like one of the twin sisters is now applauding. Oh, I get dibs.
I love-
I the situation.
It also
Touches the
reminded me,
side.
Jordan, now that you're kind of talking about it, reminded me a lot of King Kong, like the bug scene. It reminded me a lot of the
That's what I
flowers.
thought of too.
And I
Yeah.
just thought it was so funny.
Flowers
We're
just
like,
eating
avenge
everyone.
me!
I did think of King Kong. That's so true. All the flowers eating the people.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great.
He's like, I can't wait to get chopping.
Well, and did you think of Hercules when she starts chopping and it starts duplicating and duplicating and duplicating? Enough
Yeah.
with the head slicing thing.
Dude, like to me, I didn't even understand. Like, Jack thought that like a human bridge would be enough to like support a team of horses and his wagon carriage across. Like, it made no sense. Like, he's talking to Jimmy Cricket, and then it backs out, and you find out he's walking on a bridge of human. Like, his baker's dozen is like hand to foot holding themselves across, and he's like, flex the glutes. I need a firm surface as I walk across. It makes no sense. Like,
My favorite is when the girl's hanging on. He's like, "You're not a big chatter, are you?" Oh no.
Yeah, you're not a big. You're a big chatter.
Uh-oh.
I can't believe she like still stuck with him after that.
I know.
Like, what do you do then? Where are you gonna go, man? Oh man, it was so funny. Yeah, you know what they say, you can't make a few pies without losing a dozen men. It's like, oh, sweet mother goose. Goose, Jack. Jiminy Cricket's sayings were so good, dude. Oh my gosh. What are you, some kind of demonic locust? I'm your conscience. Doing a Jimmy Stewart impression. You can't tell me he was not doing Jimmy Stewart. He's clearly channeling Jimmy Stewart. I suppose. It's so funny. Gosh. Dude, and Jiminy's like the animation that appears when he's like, "You're a ridiculous monster. You're horrible.
No, yeah, that was
You're
funny.
horrible." The sky darkens out. He's pointing accusatorily at Jack. It's so great. It's like one of my favorite gifts of all time. Like, yeah, horrible. So disgusted by him. It's
I
so
know. I
great.
love
And
when the
then,
dog finally gives him the googly eyes, and then he's like, "I have no soul."
yeah. He's like,
You think that'd work
"Oh,
on me?
that was so cute how you thought that would work on me, but you know what? I'm dead inside."
I'm dead
So
inside. That's what it was.
good. And then Cameron's line where he's like dying and he's like, "Oh, what did I do to deserve this?" And you're like, you're a psychomaniac who's killed so many of his people.
I mean specifically.
I was thinking about Jack long after the movie's been done, and I went back and watched every one of his scenes.
Yeah. Oh, he's
Has me dying.
hilarious.
He was so weird, so funny.
Well, I mean,
Oh
it's
gosh,
just, I mean,
so good.
the references, I mean, I swear you could go through the entire film, just scene after scene after
Yes.
scene. I mean,
Yes.
even Western, I love when they all like, have a showdown. It's just,
Yeah, at the end, it's literally a standoff. Everyone's eyes. It's very much the good, the bad, the ugly. It was lovely. Absolutely loved that.
yeah. And as film geeks, I just loved it so much. What were you saying, Cameron?
I also think it's interesting how they did similar to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. There were certain lines that were only in Spanish, and so it's kind of like you had to go actually look it up, or like it was benefit for those who know Spanish. I saw certain things like that were kind of cool, just like when a film has like the discipline to do that. I don't know. I just think it's really impressive because it could have just so easily put the subtitles.
Yeah, and sometimes it's almost like, well, again, Puss is played by Antonio Banderas, and Catherine Zeta-Jones plays the other cat. Like it all, like, to me, it's like it almost has a very Spanish feel to it. It's like
For sure.
Conquistador, the music, everything
Yeah.
about it, and I love it. I'm like, yeah, don't worry. Like, to me, it only enhances. You don't need it in order to understand. Like, you're right. But
Well,
yeah,
I
to me,
mean,
I'm like, just do it every once in a while.
like you mentioned, he totally is Zorro. I mean, he's literally scratching the P as like Zorro does on people's
Which I
chests.
know why they must have chosen Antonio Banderas, because I remember when
He played
it
Zorro,
first
yeah.
came out, it was the fox or whatever.
But
His
I love
character
too,
is
like when he
embodies
gives
his
out gold
death.
to the people, and it's
Yeah.
just totally like Zorro or Robin Hood, just kind of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's great. So funny.
Did
And then, like,
Grant go? Oh,
his beard, it's distinguished. It looks
Oh.
like a possum curled up on your face and died. Lost all of his
Shame.
dignity of shame. And then, like, when he's going up this like factory line, he sees like like one of the cat like tears off some guy's beard, and he's like, hey, and his beard gets stuck. It's like, no. Just get this thing. And
Or
he's, like,
yeah, I
freaking
think he
out.
ripped off the mustache or something.
mustache, yeah.
Yeah, the cat like rips off some guy's mustache, and he's laughing,
Like,
and then his
ooh.
beard gets caught in this factory line. He's like, no. This is so good. It's so funny.
I love that they gave
So
him a
funny.
beard.
I know. He had a beard for like half an hour. It was great, and I loved it. Like, he was hiding, behind it. I thought it was great. I loved it. And the mama or whatever, she's like, "There's no cats living here," and then like, "Oh, you're not from the eviction people or the state, the health
Health
department."
department.
And all these mittens appear behind the door, like, yeah. It's like
and
so gross.
Did you think of Let the
Crazy
Right
cat
One?
lady.
Did you think of Let the Right One In, Ty, when all the cats jump on top of the bear and he's running around screaming? Like, that totally happens in Let the Right One In. It's great.
Oh
But
my gosh.
I don't know if, like,
There's some of
because I've
them.
just seen so many movies, I'm like, oh, this scene is in like a ton of other movies, but
Yeah.
it's just
It
so
is funny that
fun.
you mentioned that. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because it did feel, but like the story beats all work within this story. And yes, there's
Yeah.
probably things where is it borrowed from that, inspired by that. There's probably a lot of that going on. Like, it's funny that you mentioned True Detective, which I haven't yet watched, but it's funny that you even mentioned True Detective because I was thinking of the movie almost plays like you mentioned Big Trouble in Little China. There's like a horror movie element to it, like the three scenes with the wolf even to the very end, like you get the full story, but like the very first time he hunts him, it plays like a horror movie. The shadow creeping under the door. It's all very
Yeah,
supernatural
so good.
and very eerie, like very scary.
And that
Like
whistle is
on
so
purpose.
sick, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I loved when the cat's hairs were standing up straight when like he was afraid. It just like like Cameron said, show don't tell. It just you get that same feeling he got.
Yeah, and I love how he's like, I just love the smell of fear as he's dragging the freaking dual wielding
Sickles.
sickles. Gosh, dude, so sick.
Yeah. Is your life flashing before your eyes?
Yeah, I love also how he like that one swing or whatever, how he just clipped him enough to where he's like starting to bleed down his forehead.
Yep.
And he's just like, oh my gosh. Because he's like, Puss in Boots has never been touched by a blade. And he's like, oh.
Well, and
Never
it adds
match,
to
yeah.
that fear of his character because he's on his last life, which by the way, showing all his lives that he died
Yes.
from.
That
Oh
Very
my
was so
gosh.
funny.
good.
Like my
But
favorite was probably the
but not
shellfish.
even
She's like, is there a shellfish in this?
Like
Buffy. Dude, that made me think of Burn After Reading, right? That's like George Clooney. He's like, "What is there shellfish in here?" I go into anaphylactic shock. Well, whatever. You only live once, right? You can't always. It's like, no, you can't always. And she hands him the shellfish.
I,
That's so funny.
I actually
Burn
thought
After Reading.
of the Will Smith one. What's the dating one? I
Hitch.
thought Hitch. Yeah, when he
Yeah.
like looks in the oh
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
I
yes.
related to
I
that
was
too
just-
much because of I turn into an Asian when I eat certain tree nuts. So
yeah,
Yeah,
Cameron has
Jordan
that
and
Jordan
Ty
same.
used
gets
to
all
make fun
puffy.
of me for it.
Looks
No, but
hilarious.
it's funny, Jordan, you talk about the references because even with like the pocket full of posies, I thought of Harry Potter when Hermione, like when they're in the vines or whatever, and she's like, "You just need to stop moving," and then it's like, "You should relax." Yeah.
It'll only kill you faster. Faster.
Oh,
Good
now
job.
I'm relaxed.
It was faster. Well, now I'm relaxed.
Yeah, it's great. And then I don't know if I mentioned my two favorite things, but yeah, Jack Horner obviously is one of them. And I did like what you mentioned about the montage of him dying at the beginning, but I loved how that was referenced later in the movie as a great callback where all of his
Yeah, that
previous
like ice
lives
thing,
come
yeah.
back. And like, see, that made me think of Frozen 2. What a missed opportunity that was because that movie had something similar to this, where you see like Elsa sees something in their past, or I don't know. That movie's so whack. But I just remember thinking like, wow, this movie like really well done because you had the montage before, and you could think that in and of itself is very funny, showing a character progressing through his lives, but then later to call them back and see his past ego, it was awesome, just brilliantly done. And they're all not manifest in these funny crystal shards that like one's like super jacked and he's like pumping weights and working out while he's there, and then the other one's a drunk, and then all of a sudden the wolf is coming through and smashing them all. It was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So loved it. Those are my two favorite. Yeah, the character progression in Puss and seeing his, because I've seen too many times they try to deconstruct a character and I'm like, but like I liked it because one, a cat have 9 lives or whatever that fable, and I always thought it was funny. I'm not much of a cat person, but this got me to like feel. I'm like, you know what? Am I gonna get a cat probably next? Yes, I'll probably be getting a cat next. So nice job, movie. You did your job.
I'll be getting a wolf before I get a cat. What the fudge?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be getting one of Miss what's her name at the beginning. I'm not gonna get one of her disease-ridden flea bags, but I'll get
Yeah.
one of my
Yeah, the
get a nice.
Oh, yeah. When he like looks at the cat.
He's like-
And they all just like curl up when like someone lays down. They all just like they all fall and like just sleep right next to someone. It's so gross. Like there was just like laying on each other. Like the dog pretending to be a cat, I thought was hilarious too.
That
Like
was great.
he's got the little mask on and he's like meow meow. He's like pretending to be a cat. Oh, it's really funny. That was great. Very funny. And I even loved him burying Puss's gear. Like he was like done
Yeah.
with his life.
It's like words
Well,
cannot
then I picked it.
describe.
Yes,
I
but it would be a
well,
shame not to try.
That
Really
was
a
pretty
shame.
good.
great scene, great scene. See, and again, that was so good at playing up his character. You realize how lonely he is because, like, he seems like everyone's favorite hero at the beginning, and the song plays, courageous hero, and he's
Yep.
making a mockery of the mayor or whatever the town, the governor.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And you're like, you've seen this hero many times, and then he rides off and gets the girl, but instead he ran away from the love of his life. He ran away from everything else. He was afraid of his mortality. He was afraid to stay in one place. Just a very, very interesting character.
Well, and I love that the only way he could essentially escape death was by humiliating himself by going out the porta potty. Like that was just horrendous. Like that's how he's like, the only way I can like escape this is to humiliate myself. And I thought that already started to show like his path down humility. He's just like, because like, oh, I Puss in Boots is to be feared. He's like, feared by others. I laugh in the face of death. See?
I thought of Court Gesture a few times like that. And
Yeah. When he's like,
yeah, Antonio Banderas is great. I love him. He's so fun.
he is so
He's got a
good.
great personality. He's got a great voice, just soothing,
Yes.
sultry.
Mhm.
A lot of great voice acting in this for sure. Like even the what's his face. I only recognize the dog from all those commercials. He used to be like a commercial actor. Now he seems to be getting into these happy, plucky roles. But anyway, the guy that voices the dog is like this chubby. He's in the Geico commercial where he like looks at Geico and he's like he like mocks Geico for his age, the gecko from the insurance company. Anyway, that's the guy. I just recognized him from the ads on TV. But I'm like, I wonder if he's now breaking out and becoming a movie star because he's also in. He
he's
was
in What We
the
Do in the
awesome,
Shadows.
right? What We Do in the Shadows
Oh, that's
TV
right.
show.
Yeah.
Or no, was he
The
in
TV
movie?
show.
In the TV show.
TV
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. But he was also, what was the thing that we watched that he was in? He was in Jack Reacher. Did you guys watch the new Jack Reacher series?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's in Jack Reacher as well.
Yeah, he's the coroner.
Yes, and he's great. And anyway, like he's breaking into TV and movies and stuff, and it's just funny to see such a prominent role. And he didn't annoy me. I was worried that that character would annoy me most, but I liked him. He was just fine. Rub my belly. It's like this ugly.
You'll feel better.
You'll feel better. I loved it. I thought that was so funny. He like kept lifting his shirt, and you just see this little pudgy. It's so funny, so funny. That was great. And yeah, him hi, I'm Puss's therapy dog was so funny. Like, oh, so great. Like that introduction.
friendship.
Yeah, team
That's
friendship.
team friendship. He's like,
I-
what? It's like,
Wait, I did not agree to this.
I did not agree to this. Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of Zach Galifianakis from
Oh my gosh, so
The
good.
Hangover. Just like that friend, like the three best friends that anybody ever had. Just
Yes, very much like a Zach Galifianakis character to the Hangover. Yeah. Yeah,
But-
Captain Zeta-Jones and Antonio Banderas are too cool for him almost, and then
Yeah.
he like wears them down with his genuine kindness and things like that.
Mhm.
So
Definitely
good.
do recommend this though.
highly recommend this movie. This is everyone can enjoy. There's something in this film for everyone, and there's some
Everyone.
parts in it not for everyone, like the horror movie aspect. Kids, don't worry, they'll grow to understand that and appreciate it when they get older. You know, but
Yeah,
it
the
deals
wolf-
with intense themes and it doesn't insult kids. So, because my daughter loves the movie now after the fact. The wolf scenes were scary, but she loved it. So, and everyone learned something, and I definitely enjoyed it. But I remember thinking, should I just skip the wolf scene just for while my kids are in the room and then go back and watch it? But no, they were fine. It's like that one lady. Remember, she's like, I wanted to take my kids to Harry Potter, but I thought it was too scary, so I desensitized her and showed it to her every day until she wasn't scared of it anymore. I was like,
That's one way
Yeah.
to do it.
it's exposure therapy, great.
Yeah.
Just keep showing her Harry Potter until she's not scared of it anymore. That's one way of doing it. It's parenting, man. I just watched I watched like a third of the Harry Potter. I watched from the beginning all the way to almost the Forbidden Forest, and then we're done. My kids love it. They love the whole like letters, the owls, Hagrid, Dumbledore, McGonagall. They love all that. Like seriously, it's magical. But after I'm like, my kids don't need to see Voldemort sucking the blood out of a unicorn. To see that. They also need to fear people in turbans. Pulling off his turban, he's got another head on the back of his head. So
Yeah, I
Oh.
love the commentary on
I
that. It's
know.
like, did they say goodnight to each other every night? Did they have to sleep sideways at all times? Like, was it a
He
good
was a
night,
side
or was it just
sleeper, yeah.
sitting there in awkwardness?
He rolls over. He's like, Carl,
Yeah, that's why he's like,
roll over.
he's like, that must have been
I
really
can't
awkward
breathe."
in the bathroom. He's like, in showering, how does that work?
That's funny.
But should we talk about what we watched recently before
Dude.
real quick before
I
the
love
top
it.
10?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Dude, I want to know everything you've been watching, dude. Hit us up, Cameron.
So I just watched Harry Potter 6, 7 part 1 and 7 part 2. Because Kelsey had never seen 7 part 2, so it was really fun to like.
You did
and
it. Did Kelsey watch it with you? Yeah. I was about to
Yeah.
say, did you watch
She
it
made it.
without her?
Yeah, she did make it. And
She
man,
made
like
it.
so good. The 7 part.
You have Harry Potter fatigue, I'm sure.
It's so hard, and what's called so hard for me to watch 7 part 2. Like I love it, and it's one of the best like like series finales I've ever seen. But like it's so hard to compete with because I watched it opening night, and just like everyone was dressed up and like cheering when she's like, "Not my daughter, you," and everyone was like, when Bellatrix died and stuff like that. I was like, I also forgot how sad it is
I'm
that
gonna
Dobby
say,
dies.
I like that scene. I like that scene, but I almost feel like it was a disservice not to have Neville Longbottom get some kind of comeuppance for his parents. Like he was the one that was affected more by Bellatrix. I mean, like Molly
Yeah.
But dude,
Weasley in that
dude,
one
I think
moment,
honestly,
yes,
I think Harry would have
fine.
had more of a right, dude, because what's his name? Bellatrix
Sirius
killed.
Black.
Serious,
Yeah,
yes,
he
yeah.
killed
Good
Sirius,
point.
and then
All
she
good points.
also.
What I'm saying is Miss Weasley had a moment, and I'm like, yeah, but like Harry or yeah, personally. But yes, Sirius was an awful tragedy too. But
Yeah,
still, it's just one of those things where you're like, take it, Rowling. Do you want to rewrite your book?
and she killed
You go back
Dobby.
and retroactive.
Boo, Bellatrix, dude. Bellatrix honestly was the worst character in the
Dude,
entire
she
like
doesn't care
series. I
about
was like,
elves.
why
Let's
do I
just not
low-key
forget
hate
that.
her more than Voldemort?
Well,
Yeah.
Umbridge is probably the worst. Man, she was evil.
Yeah.
She's, I must not tell lies, Professor.
Yeah, I hated her more than Voldemort. I was kind of hoping she would die.
Yeah.
Dude, in the book, yeah, especially to like bulging eyes. Yeah,
But and then I
she
also
wasn't as
watched
hateable
I
in the
watched
movie. More hateable in the book.
I watched this French film for my film class called A Town Called Panic. It's actually pretty fun. It's about it's like claymation, which I hate claymation, but it was actually really well done and it was like super funny.
I don't know why.
No, I have to always bring up. Do you remember the scene where Ben Wyatt in Parks and Rec was his job, and he's
Yes.
like, "I did this
Mhm.
claymation film," and he gets down, he
It's
watches
like
it,
8 seconds.
and
He's
he
like, that's it.
character wakes up out of bed, he like stands up, and then takes one step forward, and the video just hard cuts, and he's like, "It took me like 2 months to make 8 seconds of film."
But
And he's like, "Oh
and then
my gosh, what have I done with my life?" It's fun.
I
Oh gosh.
I
So I'm with
also
you, Kim. What's the point of claymation? What
it's
is it?
stupid. And I
I
also
love it.
watched Dave Chappelle's Sticks and Stones TV special because Ty recommended it. Re-
Oh, so
really
good.
really funny. It's kind of crazy how much he says the N-word though. I was like, man, I forgot how much he says it. But really funny, super non-PC, but really funny. And then I
It's great.
finally finished Emergency Declaration. Wow, holy cow. That was
Hey,
freaking
Cameron, could you stop
insane.
smiling so much? You look like a whore when you do.
Yeah, that was I don't know if I mentioned it last podcast, but yeah, that was the first time I cried in a while watching the movie since I think maybe Manchester or something like that. But yeah, super. And honestly, it's
Didn't
funny
cry on
because
either of those.
it's funny because the part that like got me in Emergency Declaration was actually when like the psycho guy who's like, oh, she's got a rash. Get away! When he was saying like that he loves his family or whatever, I was like, oh wow, he's really just like a scared person, like who's trying to get home to his family. I just thought that was like a super good like show don't tell moment. And then I've also watched like part of the Harley Quinn Valentine's Day special. Let's just say it's a whole lot of too much of Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy and not enough Batman and Jim Gordon. So, but I'm gonna try to skip through and see if there's any other parts with them on it. But it's pretty much just like majority about them too, and just yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of lesbian kissing.
Woman empowerment.
What?
Women empowerment.
I said women
So
empowerment.
whatever.
It's
Down with
just
the patriarchy, man.
yeah. But it's and then I'm looking forward to. I haven't watched Secret Life of Walter Mitty since like high school, and so I just want to rewatch it and see if it'll make my top 100. Just because I know the soundtrack was amazing, and I know like there's a lot of really like amazing aspects of the film. I just haven't seen it since high school, so I don't really remember it well enough.
It's not super
good.
rewatchable. It's like it's still enjoyable though. Because I recently rewatched it like a month or two ago.
Sure, it's a feel good. It's a feel good. If you're on a bender watching those, you should watch Into the Wild. That's another good one. Cameron, I think you would actually enjoy it more than Secret Life, personally.
Into
It's
the
a
Wild.
kid that had like his life set up, really brilliant kid, but he just like gives up everything and goes into the wild.
You
Super
like
hippy
that
dippy
one?
at parts. Oh, I liked it. I mean, it's not like my favorite movie, but it's just in the vein of Walter Mitty because I like every once in a while I get in the mood to watch a movie like Slumdog Millionaire,
I
Into the
like the one with
Wild,
Viggo Mortensen better
or
and his family living in the
The
wild.
Road.
No,
Oh,
the one they live in the wild.
sorry, I thought you were talking about The Road.
No.
No, you're talking about Captain Fantastic. Yes,
Yeah, that
great
one's
movie.
better.
Yeah, Hunt for the Wilder People, oh, like a wilderness explorer movie. Yeah, it's up there. Into the Wild was good. I liked it. Right? When's the last time you seen Into the Wild, Jordan?
I don't know. I don't know
That's
if I
my
even got
point.
through it. I watched the first like 30 minutes. I'm like, man, this is
Hippy dippy bullcrap.
I'm just thinking of the Jim Gaffigan where it's like camping. Why did they call them happy
Yeah.
campers? The people leaving the camp, they're happy campers.
The only one happy.
Why don't we
They're
just call
leaving
them
home to take a
campers?
shower. Miserable. Smelly like everybody else. I love it, dude. It's so funny. Kim, what else you been watching?
That's it.
That's it. Grant, what about you, man?
Cameron failed to mention we watched White Chicks together.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
gosh,
gosh.
so funny.
I had never seen it, and it
Somebody
was
threw
so
Shannon
funny.
back in the ocean. So funny, dude. Oh my
No,
gosh.
the part that Grant died at was when they said, "Once you go black,
He's like, "Once you
you're
go
gonna need
black,
a wheelchair."
You ended up in a wheelchair.
And she's like,
And a
"Oh,
girl just is wheeled by.
hey,
Dude, I'm
Latrell,
sorry.
call me."
Man.
It has
So
the
funny.
second funniest. It has the second funniest bathroom scene since Dumb and Dumber. I'm just saying, like, you see
That
him
was
like
pretty
eating,
good,
he
yeah.
eats shellfish or whatever. He's in the bathroom and you just
Yeah,
see
he eats
his feet
dairy.
with those
Yeah.
ridiculous shoes, like flopping
Yeah.
around the. Oh,
Dude,
Gary, that's
and the
right.
dog scene is just so funny. I don't have no dog. That's not a dog.
That's family.
Come here, boy.
Yeah, that's
He's like,
so
oh,
funny.
don't pay
Terry
him any
Crews was
mind.
still one of
He
my
just
favorite
does that
parts.
till he'll fall asleep.
And
Dude,
then
when
I
Terry Crews is
watched.
sitting there, he's like laying on the ground. He's like, wait, Terry Crews is like, you need to tell me you're not a woman. I know. What?
The deception. Please,
Please.
somebody get this away from me.
Oh, man.
That's too
Could
funny.
not be made today. Could not be made today.
Oh, I know.
Never.
Absolutely not. No, man. What a gem.
Mhm.
So
And
funny.
then I watched. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this Age of
Jordan, just so you know,
Adeline.
it's like a more funny miscongeniality is what it's like.
I've
if you
seen
haven't
it.
seen it. Have you seen White Chick?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're just not joining in all the fun, so I don't know if you cared for it at all.
I tried to rewatch it recently. I need to watch it with you guys because
Yeah, watching with people definitely made a difference.
when they were being the Asian guys, I
Who
was
watches
just like,
movies
I'm like, I
No,
don't know.
the Mexican part, you just have that is just pain.
They're being
That
Mexicans.
Oh, they're Mexicans. Whatever the
Yeah.
opening scene was, I was just like, this is painful.
it is.
I thought they were Asian. What? Okay, one, they were saying the Macarena and the fact that Jordan's like, oh, these black guys.
No,
pretending to
it
be
is.
Asian,
It is
super
cringe.
offensive.
It is
That makes me
painful.
laugh.
We didn't laugh a single
Oh,
time
it
together
is.
at that
But
part.
to me, I was still laughing.
I thought
I
it
did
was
when
so
he's like
dumb.
literally saying the Macarena. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But you know, what it reminds me of though. It reminds me of like Key and Peele, even like some of Dave Chappelle's old, like the joke. They run it into the ground. Like these both Key and Peele, they'll like kill a joke. They'll just murder it. They'll just keep hammering it home. Like the whole AA run. I know everyone finds that super funny. The substitute teacher. The joke just keeps going, and I'm like, it's just like
Laugh.
punches you into submission. Yeah,
Laugh.
just keeps going.
What else,
So,
Grant?
anyway.
And then I don't know if you guys have ever seen this Age of Adeline. We watched it on Valentine's Day.
Yes, Harrison Ford. They actually had an actor that literally looks 100% like Harrison Ford, and they didn't use him for the Han Solo. I don't know why. He was a perfectly great actor. I don't know where he went.
Oh, the guy
He
who
literally,
plays the
guys,
young
look this
version.
up. Age of Adeline. Harrison Ford plays younger Harrison Ford. He looks literally exact. No de-aging. They just found an actor that freaking looks like him, and
Yeah.
he's a great actor. I don't know why they didn't use him. Like, you don't even have to stretch the imagination. I literally looked it up because I was like, did they de-age him? Because I thought that's what they did. But
But
I
yeah,
was
that's
like,
a good
no,
movie.
it's really an act Ford. He's charming as heck, and it's a great movie. Fun chick flick.
Yeah, that's fun.
Sci-fi
And then
chick.
we watched Rush Hour 1. I
Magical,
hadn't seen
whimsical.
that in forever,
That's a
and
good
that was
one.
really fun to rewatch.
It was.
And then I watched Fargo for the
Yeah,
first time, the
Tucker's
movie.
voice, dude.
You had never seen Fargo when we watched
I'd
it?
never
I
seen
forgot about that.
I'd never seen the movie. I'd seen, I think, part of,
The
or at
show.
least the first season of the show. So yeah, the
Jordan's
movie's
forced
really
everyone to
good.
watch the first season. Movie's great.
Yeah. So and that's been. Oh,
I
and
like
I've been
stupid shit.
watching.
It's like, can you describe the perpetrator? Oh, he's just kind of funny looking. Funny looking how? Oh, in a general sense.
Yeah, that was for sure.
They nailed
Um,
Minnesotans 100% right.
Yeah, for sure. And then I've been watching more Attack on Titan anime show. It just keeps getting better and better, so it's really good.
You need to watch Chainsaw Man, Grant.
All of you, I will check that out.
I tried
That
to
does
show
look pretty good.
I tried to show Kelsey the first episode of Death Note, and she was not a fan.
Really?
Dude, I don't
Yeah.
know why. You need to watch the second episode because it blows your mind where they go.
Well,
I'm
no,
just saying, I know
she
that
just
sounds
didn't like
weird.
it. She's like, I feel like it's really dark. I'm like, well, it's kind of the point.
Yeah.
You're like, just wait till you get to
Yeah, 'cause
you find out like 3 months has gone by and he's like murdered.
Yeah, because we stopped it after the dude got hit by when he wrote the dude's name in the book and he got hit by that the bus after he was like trying to like that girl or whatever and and then like the biker guy and he's like
Assaulted
"Oh!"
girl. Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that one too. But lots of
Great.
good anime out there. Just saying.
You're such a nerd. I've watched half of Death Note.
I never
and
thought
I
I'd be an
stopped halfway
anime
through.
guy, and I think I do have like there's quite a few ones that I'm like I will never watch that, but some of them are
Attack on
really
Titan.
good. And you'll see in the
I just
TV
can't stand
shows
how many times.
top 10.
And to the
you'll
credit to
see.
Death Note, very few times did they do the eye shimmer. They do gasps and silences, but they don't do shimmering eyes like like pulsing veins, and they're just like trembling. I don't know. I can't handle it. It's so cringe-inducing for me. I don't know why. It bothers me.
I think they still
fair.
do
But
that
to be
stuff.
fair,
They just don't defy the
even with
laws
the
of gravity
silence and Death
and
Note,
stuff.
that was. I already told you. Yes, the stakes were
You're
understandable.
missing out.
Except
Anyway,
for freaking
Jordan,
Sean.
watching
Some of the best
Chainsaw Man.
action. That's all I'm saying.
Jordan, what are you seeing?
I am rewatching Vice Principals with my wife, which we're enjoying very much. And I'm not saying I'm above
Give me a
white
reason to
chicks
like him.
because
Oh.
oh no, they're deplorable human beings, but it's just funny. And because we're huge fans of the Righteous Gemstones, and I love Danny
Yeah.
McBride's work, and
Yeah.
because he leans into the childish humor of it all. But
Hey, he's
anyways,
the funniest one, and this is the end. I totally
and
agree.
I think it's fine to make fun of yourselves. And so I don't have a problem necessarily with white chicks. I just didn't find it funny, but I only seen it once a long time ago and I couldn't get into it because I wasn't watching with somebody else. But when I was watching Vice Principals, there's a scene where he's like, one of the girls is yelling to him and in Chinese. He's like, enough of that. None of that bing bop bull crap. And it's just so offensive, but it's so funny. It's so bad because he does
That's
like an
funny.
amazing impression. I'll have to send you guys a clip. I know Cameron will find it like unbelievably
It's
hilarious.
just like it's just like a new girl, the principal. She's like, I want you in that classroom teaching these kids like they do in North Korea. Math.
Yeah, just like super offensive, but just how they deliver it in the line, I'm like, oh, you nailed it. And speaking of South Korean films, I started a Taxi Driver. I have like 10 minutes left. I was watching it right before the podcast. I'm like,
Good movie.
so
I'm
good.
sorry. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I love that one. Yeah. I was telling you to watch that. It's got the Parasite guy. What's his name?
Mhm.
Hyun Sok. I'm gonna remember his name eventually.
Yeah.
Or is that the other guy?
No, I don't. Well, it's yeah, he is so good. I love his work so
I
much.
saw the devil guy.
There's an no, he's in Emergency
Great actor.
Declaration, which I guess he's in I Saw the Devil, but he's also in
Well,
GSA.
no.
Which,
I know. I'm just saying.
Yes.
I said the name. Hyun Sok, and I wasn't sure if that was the
I
guy
don't-
from I Saw
I'll
the
look it
Devil
up.
because I
Keep
see
going,
the
Jordan.
name, and
And
I just it's one of the
so
two. Yeah.
he is his performance is amazing in Parasite and Memories of Murder and this movie. And I'm really excited because he just came out with a new movie that I'm really excited to watch. I'm waiting to buy it. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
What's
It's
his new movie called?
Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite actors. So Broker, and then I'm also looking forward to seeing Bones and all. But yeah,
Oh, great, brilliant, brilliant. I watched. It was a great recommendation. All Quiet on the Western Front. This is a remake. Hit Netflix.
Like a
I need
old
to watch that.
80s or 70s
One of the
film, yeah.
most powerful war movies I've seen since Saving Private
Probably
Ryan.
like
And I'm it
Yeah.
had I cried 3 times on the airplane and was not afraid to hide the tears. The guy next to me probably thought it was crazy. I lost it. It was so
It's
painful.
so
Like,
good.
and again, like I'm not gonna say it's like, is it better than Saving Private Ryan? It's just a very well done film. And just watch it. Like I watched it and I remember thinking,
Yeah.
oh, if only 1917 was as hard hitting as this. And it's the same war, World War One. And it's got what's his name from the Avengers, what's his name? He's the only German
Mhm.
actor they have. They bring him out. He's the one that
Daniel
corrupts
Bruhl.
Bucky. What's his name?
Yeah, he's Z.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah,
He's
the
in
crazy
Inglourious Basterds.
scientist.
Yes, yep. He's the sniper. No, he's no, not the crazy
No,
scientist.
he's from
He's
Civil
the
War.
sniper in Quentin Tarantino's.
Oh,
He's the sniper in Inglourious.
Daniel
The
Bruhl.
one to make the film about.
yeah.
Yes, Daniel Bruhl. I'm gonna start remembering his name though because his performance in this movie was great. Please watch this movie. I watched it.
Thank you. I need a second
It's up there
voice.
now. I now have an easy war movie to throw up in the top 10. It made
Well,
the list
okay.
instantly.
Well,
But
I
then
was
I
saying,
don't know what I have to kick
so
out of
war
it.
movies and
It's so
family
good.
shows, speaking of Paddington 2 and All Quiet on the Western Front, are movies like I know I'm gonna like, but it's like that's not at the top of my list. Those are like down here, you know.
Like I said, I downloaded on my phone and I was like, I'm just gonna start it. I'm just gonna watch a few minutes. Could not put it down. It was 2
Well,
hours
yeah,
and 30
and I know
minutes.
I'm gonna love
I
it. Like
was
I love
blown
a
away.
lot of war movies. It's a war movie. Those ones are like those are hard to like motivate yourself to get into, at least for me. I don't know.
Unless it's hacks on it, lulls you into like, oh, this is a rom-com. Oh my gosh, it's not a rom-com.
Like I said, I have a disconnect with Hacksaw. I think it's a good movie, but it's not like up there in my top favorite. So
Yeah.
but
Your
this one
your
just
opinion's
instantly
invalid.
climbed. Start it, and oh, I will say it
See, valid.
to be fair,
We didn't hear you, Ty. You
and
cut out.
Yeah, you cut out.
it reminded me most of Dunkirk. This movie reminded me most of Dunkirk, as far as stylistically and the protagonist who you follow, and then a little bit of 1917. But like, because there are some amazing shots. I don't know how they filmed some of this movie. It almost feels like an Alejandro Inarritu filming, where it's like gorgeous lush landscapes, gorgeous horizon and dawn shots that are just like wow. And then like anyway,
All right, do you
absolutely
want
love it.
Ty, do you want to say what you've seen recently so that we can quickly get into our top 10?
He just did. It was All Quiet on the Western Front.
That's
What
it.
else?
I just wanted to plug that one. I did watch Jungle Book with my kids. I've watched Puss in Boots. I've watched a lot of other kid movies, but that's pretty much the one that I watched for myself. And then I started Pepsi Where's My Jet. I don't know if you guys watched this. It's a really funny advertisement that Pepsi did back in the 90s where they said if you had like 7 million points, you could get a Harrier jet. And it was a joke, but they never put in any fine print. So this kid was like, I'm going to win that jet. And he started buying up all these Coke cans. And he ends up going on this crazy lawsuit. And it's a crazy story, but it's really entertaining. So recommend that show. It's just really funny. Pepsi Where's My Jet is what it's called. And it's a pretty funny Netflix original. So, and then I can't remember if I've seen anything else. That might be it as far as what I've seen recently.
All right, top 10 favorite TV shows, huh?
Let's do it. Top 10 favorite. Folks, this is episode 250. The fans are dying to know. What do we rank as our top 10 favorite TV shows of all time?
And
So,
should we
without
start?
further ado, Cameron, you start us off.
Cameron.
I feel like
All
I
right,
have
my
less
honorable
commentary
mention
on
is
this one personally.
my
Maybe
honorable
not.
mention is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's amazing, but it really trails off
No,
the
it didn't
end.
make it.
No. And then number 10 for me is Black Mirror. I just there's nothing like it. I
Interesting.
just think it's so good.
I know, and it's funny when we always see other shows that are similar, where it's like, oh, it's like
Oh, it's
Black
like Black Mirror.
Yeah. And then Parks and Rec number 9 for me. Number 8, The Office. Number 7, Psych. And then number 6, Chernobyl. And then 5 for me is Death Note. And then 4 is The Boys.
Boys.
And then
Love it.
number 3, just because it only has one season, Invincible. I can't put it number 1 or 2 because I'm like, you gotta give me at least 2 seasons for me to say you're a perfect show. And then number 2 is The Chosen, and then number 1 for me is Game of Thrones. Even with that ending, still the best TV show I've ever seen.
That's hilarious. So funny. I haven't seen it, so I guess that's the caveat. Big. Am I breaking up? Is my
Yeah, a little bit.
internet
Yeah,
bad?
we hear about half of what you
Just here
say.
and there. You're fine for the most of it, but
Really? Like this whole time, or just lately?
Lately.
Every once in a while.
Oh crap! All right, Grant. How about you, man? Your list.
honorable mention was Walking Dead and Stranger Things.
Get out of here. Die.
I just have to say it because no one else will. I know. So
No,
The
I
first
love it.
season is
Grant,
solid.
Grant,
I'll
Let's
back
not
you up.
Wait,
forget.
who's
Let's
your
not
favorite
forget Rick's
actor?
performance. Yeah, let's not forget Rick's performance in both season 1, 2, and 3. Best actor award goes to Rick
Exactly.
season 1, 2.
exactly.
The first actors. Oh my gosh.
So
good.
and then so number 10, I have The Boys, and then number 9, Attack on Titan. Number 8.
Blasphemy.
That
Number
high
8.
already?
Have
I
you-
think
You
you're just
haven't even
recency
finished it,
bias.
I'm
you
just
sicko.
saying.
You
I've
Wait,
two
real quick,
seasons already, and I've
Wait,
been so
so
impressed.
Jordan and Cameron, have you guys watched it already or not?
I've watched 8 episodes of it.
Yeah, I watched the first
Oh,
half.
Okay, because I'm curious. Everyone's watched it or tried it. Yeah, I've heard good things about it, Grant. So don't worry.
Yeah. So, and then number 8 is One Punch Man. Number 7 is Breaking Bad. Such a good show. Number 6, Invincible. 5, Death Note. 4 is Demon Slayer, another anime.
You're
like-
sick. It's above.
I'm just saying,
it's
it was
above
one-
Death Note.
it was
You
one-
make
it
me
was-
sick. You make me sick.
Okay, I
Very good for
cried.
that. That's
I
the
cried
first,
in
yeah.
Demon Slayer. Like it's
I've
so
cried too. I've watched half of Demon Slayer. It's crazy. It's good.
good. It's really good. And then
Is it as good as Death Note, Jordan?
No.
No.
No,
I don't know.
no,
It could just be recency bias though. So, and then
evidently.
number 3 is Game of Thrones, excluding the last season, of course.
That is
I love that we all
garbage.
keep
I
making
love-
that
yeah, we all have
caveat.
to-
No,
Just
because
take
that
a piss on the
YouTube
last
video you
season.
sent me about all the things wrong with the last season, like yeah, it's
Well, I
so
know
trash.
I heard all these other things, but then I heard even more after hearing his. I'm like, oh shoot,
Yeah.
I even hate it even more.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, I
true.
had to stop watching it, otherwise I was just getting
That YouTuber
Yeah.
you sent us, Ty, I went through all his videos, and then I found a video talking about Game of Thrones. I'm like, ouch,
Yeah,
it just
perfect. Yeah.
it's
Well, and see,
Yeah.
I like that he goes through and just because sometimes I need someone to talk about like where it went wrong and how it could have been so much easier with just small fixes, dude. Like
yeah.
I was watching
And-
a Last of Us. He's like, let me write Last of Us 2, the video game, and made it really good. And I was like, it wouldn't have been hard.
Yeah.
Like I loved Last of Us movie or the game, and I didn't even bother to play the second one because it was so bad. It was just such a misfire.
And did you finish your list, Grant? Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say that like I agree with Cameron that the first 7 seasons of Game of Thrones, like it's one of the best TV shows ever made. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
being
It's
interested in
solid.
politics in a
nerds.
show is really hard to do. Like all the
Dude, watch
interweaving
House
of
of
all the
Cards,
stories,
man.
like
Watch
Dude,
House of
and
Cards.
House of
and to
Cards is
redeem the
pretty good.
most irredeemable character from episode 1, a dude who's freaking sister who pushes a kid out of a window, and then you're rooting for him by the end. I'm like, what is
Yeah,
this show,
yeah,
dude?
no,
How
it's
did you do
amazing.
that?
Yeah.
This is insane.
such good writing.
You
And
guys are
then
all
number
sick, man.
yeah, and then number 2 is Chernobyl, such a good miniseries. And then I have number 1 is The Chosen because I've just never cried so much and been moved by like. I mean, the acting isn't perfect, but like, I just love how rewatchable it is and just like
Excuse me, the acting isn't perfect. I'm sorry. Is there a weak link in the chain?
Well, not specifically, just like mostly in this last season, like
Some of the practical effects, like the beards, had me dying in the future, like when it's
Are you
like,
talking
oh,
about John the Baptizer?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
no, and like
Matt,
the future, like Matthew and John. I'm like,
Like
his beard.
I
I can
think the
see the
acting
glue,
is
man.
great, but like I'm just saying, like at certain times, I'm just like, yeah, this is TV show.
No,
acting.
there's some
I can
cheese
see
to
Yeah.
it for me too.
But it's still one of the best shows. I've
Je-
ever seen.
except for
We're all going
Jesus.
to hell.
Except for
Okay,
Jesus,
you
every
guys
single
are
scene with
so-
Jesus is literally flawless. I don't know how he does it. He's literally cheating.
He's so good.
He's found the cheat
Yeah.
code of acting, bro. He's literally like, he's not even human.
Dude,
He's filled with El Espiritu Santo.
and he hasn't been struck by lightning yet, so you know he's doing it right.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
Unlike Jim Caviezel, he's doing it wrong.
All right, Ty, your top 10.
Yo, okay, guys, I'm gonna turn my phone sideways because I should know them off the top of my head, but I don't. So I make an honorable mention real quick. So I have to make a caveat because this is actually below honorable mention. So I put, so I put Freaks and Geeks if it had more seasons would have made my list, and Stranger Things if they had fewer seasons would have made my list.
I agree with that. First season was solid.
Man.
It's solid first season and every diminishing returns. Okay.
Yes.
So an honorable mention goes to Downton Abbey. I've never been so addicted to a bunch of English Brits in their
It's true. It's a good one.
lifestyle. And there was just something very sweet and innocent about it that I very much liked. So great show, and I feel like it was very entertaining and very little happens, but it's like the little things that you can enjoy and the characters. It was all driven by drama, and it was beautiful, beautiful show. So it definitely gets an honorable mention there. But it's been a long time since I've seen it. And do I ever think I'll rewatch it? No, which is probably why it makes the honorable mention. It probably won't be something that I go and return and visit. Speaking of returning and visiting, the next one I've seen 3 times all the way through, and it won't be the last. I watched Chernobyl. I think Chernobyl is the greatest mini series, limited series. I just think it's a perfect 5 or 6 episodes, perfect story. It's so powerful. And it's an incredible story that I knew nothing about, and now I'm wildly fascinated about that time.
Hi,
about the
only 8
history.
people died. I don't know why you're overreacting.
It's not even that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Not that big of a deal. You're kind of blowing it out of proportion.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm blowing it out of proportion. That's right. And then another one that enters this list is Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is just makes the list. I think it's a perfect TV show coming of age. It's very low stakes.
Perfect
I mean,
reboot of a movie.
yes, and reinvigorates my love for 80s, everything 80s, very nostalgic. But it's just so funny, very low stake. I mean, like, what's at stake? That Cobra Kai is going to be a karate dojo, like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid, but I love it. It's very dramatic. I wish that people would just talk to each other, but whatever, high school drama. But it's perfect because that's literally how kids act. People don't sit around and talk to each other. People just misunderstand each other and feed off of drama. It's very accurate in that regard. So
well, Ty, that's like Game of Thrones, but at an all-time high because the stakes are at this high, but the drama is like, just saying.
Yeah,
you're the one. It's on all our top 10 lists except yours.
I know. Well, and to be fair, I haven't watched it, so that's totally fair.
If you watched it, it would be in your top 10, no doubt.
Yeah,
I know.
If
I'm
Cobra
sure
Kai,
See, I
if
know.
Cobra Kai's making your top 10, it would definitely bump out Cobra Kai. Holy
You
fuck.
guys are so bad. You guys are so bad. And it's crazy too, because I feel like I'm gonna get chewed out for my list now. So there's a show that made my list, and I thought about getting rid of it, but I loved it. It was called The Killing. The Detective Holder from House of
Season 1 and
Cards.
2 are
He's also-
amazing. No, they're good.
It's probably the closest thing to the Prisoners TV show I've ever seen. It's like 2 broken detectives that are
Cameron will really like it.
trying to
You
solve
really
these
like the
crimes.
detective from
You'll-
New York. Is he from New York?
The
I love how he gets in
Killing.
everybody's face and he gets like right up to him and he starts interrogating him. And you're like, it just reminds me of Jake Gyllenhaal in Prisoners. He's like it's right up in his face and he's like interrogating the kid.
Yeah, and like I said, it's such a compelling story, and it was so different. And I remember being hooked because I don't really know if I followed too. Like I did watch The Sinner, which I enjoyed with Paul Newman. No, not Paul Newman. Sorry, Bill Newman. Who's the president in Independence Day?
Our Independence Day. I don't
Bill
know.
Pullman. Sorry, Bill Pullman. That's his name. Father and Casper. Yeah. The Sinner was really good, but anyway, The Killing takes the cake because I cared so much about Holder and I can't remember their names anymore. It's been a long time since I watched it, but an amazing detective show. And then I put Better Call Saul. Well, I'm torn. I don't know if Breaking Bad's better than Better Call Saul
Yeah,
or not, but I've seen
they're
Breaking
both
Bad
so
more
good.
times. But Better Call Saul was such a masterful prequel. So those are both on my list. So that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 5 and 6 is Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. I can't distinguish either which one I like better. They're just both up there. And then there's the let's see here. Oh, that was 6, all the way up to 6, excuse me. And then I guess number 5 would be Parks and Rec. I love that show. It was so funny. All the characters, you grow to love them so much. You see so many famous people now: Adam Scott, Rob Lowe, Chris Pratt before he was even famous. It's just so funny. Aubrey
Yeah.
Plaza, who I love. Oh, real quick, in recent movies, I also watched Emily the Criminal with Aubrey Plaza. Watch it, Jordan. It's a lot like Ingrid Goes West, but it's like a
Oh, that was a
serious.
good one.
So yeah, Ingrid Goes West was a good one. Watch Emily the Criminal. It's a great movie with Aubrey Plaza. Very dramatic. It's much more serious than Ingrid Goes West. It's very good.
Well,
it reminds me so
and
much of Ingrid Goes
Ice
West.
Cube, he kind of
It's such a
stole
great
the
movie.
show, or Ice Cube's kid, I mean.
Yes, he was
He
great.
was
I
so
am
good.
Batman. And then I put on my list. This is a hard one too because I can't distinguish which one I like more. I put It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which you guys
Mhm.
know I absolutely love. It's one of my biggest guiltiest pleasures, and of course The Office. So I couldn't decide which one is on my list higher because it sounds bad because I'm also going to say The Chosen is there too. So like there's my list. But I'm like, I can't distinguish, like, do I like The Office more than The Chosen? I've watched it more than The Chosen. I quote it more than The Chosen. The Office has so much in it that I absolutely love. And I was there from downloading the very pilot episode on my video iPod. Like,
Mhm.
it's just, I don't know, it's like part of my identity. It's just part of me growing up. So, and then I also have my list because that was 9, I realized, but I also put 24 in here. I didn't really know how to rank all these, but I remember watching 24
Yeah.
and I was absolutely hooked. So
Yeah.
24 is up there on my top 10. So that's my list. And dude, watch all those shows if you haven't seen them. I don't think, be fair, I haven't watched Game of Thrones. You guys are all mocking for Cobra Kai. Settle down. I haven't watched The Wire. I haven't watched so many great shows out there that I want to see, but are on my
Sopranos.
list that I'll get around to watch. Sopranos is another great one that I wanted to watch.
Sorry, I
Wire,
haven't gotten around to
Sopranos.
Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. So
Yeah, and I wanted to put like a few other ones. Arrested Development was one of the funniest shows. Twin Peaks was such a great detective show,
That was a good
but I
one.
ultimately went with The Killing over that, just because I think The Killing
Well,
spoke to me more than
all
Twin
right,
Peaks.
it
But
is
Twin
in top
Peaks does
25.
off the list. Yeah, top 25.
Oh, there's another
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Well,
well,
there's a few others.
maybe you'll hate my list because right next to it, if I felt like it was the exact same show, I just said which one was better, but I just wrote in
Yes, number
parentheses
2.
next to it,
Yes, yes.
like that
That's
one
why
was
I
good.
struggled. I struggled with this list because I'm
No,
like,
it's okay.
I'm missing some things.
Cheaters.
Yeah, exactly. Cameron, I'm
So,
with you, dude. It's so unfair Jordan's doing this. Because
so
I still put it on my list. How
hon-
dare you, Jordan?
honorable mentions. I'll burn through this really
Want to
quick.
27 hours? Let me have a golden
Mention.
Mentions
Mention.
with an S.
Mention.
Okay, Brickleberry, South Park, SpongeBob, Super Jail, Harmon Quest, Happen Leonard first season,
Oh,
Fargo
true.
first season, Stranger Things first season. Just saying. Okay. All right, now to my top 10 list.
What did I just hear?
Okay, so
What on earth just happened?
and then so
This is no longer a podcast. We've been yeah.
oh. Okay, sorry, we can't hear you, Ty.
It's
So
I'm changing it up.
at number 10, Game of Thrones. Sorry, Cameron, it's not at the top, it's at the bottom, but still on my top 10. All right. Because that, Cameron, it would be at number 1 if that last season didn't ruin it.
Oh no, that's why I said exclude the last season.
I know. I am trying to exclude it, but it seriously hurts it so much. It brought it down to number 10. Okay, so but it would have been up there. And then at number 9, I got Community, which it was competing with Arrested Development, The League, and It's Always Sunny. But the Community is probably my favorite out of those. And then so that's number 9. And number 8 is Chernobyl. Like you guys said, greatest miniseries. Like it's unbelievable. You just like the whole time your mouth is open and you're gripping your seat because you can't believe it.
You're like, only 8 people died from this?
I know every time.
What's the big deal?
What's the big? And then I know, Cameron, you said it only has one season, but so far it's perfect season, which is Invincible, number 7. I mean, I am so
Just wait, 2's gonna fall off the rails,
I
dude.
because it's literally like so
kidding.
far it is so tight, just like what I wanted the Walking Dead comic book to be for the show. The problem was the show wasn't as good as the comic book, so that's the only reason the Walking Dead didn't make it. But Invincible so far is just as good, if not more amazing, because of the animation style than the comic. Because I tried reading the comics and I couldn't get into it. So yeah, the show is amazing. Number 6 is One Punch Man, and it's
good.
so funny. I can't believe
It
Ty
is.
couldn't get into it. I'm sorry, Ty.
Newman Rider.
It's okay. Like it's so
What can I
good.
get into? What comment?
One Punch Man is so good. And then
What comic can I not get into?
and then number 5 is Death Note. Yes, out of all the animes, I'm sorry, it's the best. I'm sorry, Grant, you're crazy.
I don't know about best, but it's
You're
great.
high, Grant.
It's so
great.
good. It's like the best cat and mouse detective movie of all time.
Oh, I agree.
Maybe Fargo season
It's
1
not best
is pretty
anime
close
of all
second.
time. Just saying.
Recency bias.
And then number 4 is Trailer Park Boys. I've rewatched the entire series 3 times already. It's the funniest show ever. I mean, guys, it's the funny, like the quotes. I mean, it goes on for days. Like I've sent you guys so many gifs of him with his, like, he never wears a shirt because his skin has a bad reaction to wearing, he can't wear shirts because his skin has a bad reaction. And so he's like in a bus and his fat tummy hits this lady in the face. Like I love that gif. It's so amazing. And then he just says so many funny things like speaking sour chicken balls. Like love it. Okay. And then number 3 is Dexter. I've rewatched that show twice all the way through. Seriously, love it. It's
that
amazing.
ending though. You want to talk about finale? What a way to end it. Ugh.
Well, but have you seen the 10th season that they just came out with?
Is it the same show? I thought it was called something else.
It's called Dexter the New
Homecoming.
Blood.
Yeah, so it's a different show, right?
It's the same thing. It's just a continuation.
A new show to fix the botched ending of.
It wasn't a botched ending. I actually like it, but and I cried at it, and so and then.
It's a hurricane.
Yeah, it's so good. It's amazing. A serial killer killing serial killers. Like there couldn't be a better premise.
Dude,
and
I
then,
watched the whole series. I loved it, but then it just bad ending. I'm sorry.
As is every TV show, according to I disagree, but most shows are. The Office is the greatest comedy show of all time. I wrote right next to it Parks and Rec. I feel like it's kind of an extension, same writers, same thing, just different department. But The Office is like greatest comedy show ever. I've seen it through so many times now, and I can literally watch any episode at any time because it is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And then number 1, after rewatching it, I didn't think it was this high, but I just finished it for the second time, and Breaking Bad is the greatest TV show of all time. Like it is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. I think we can't hear you, Ty. And and then the great and then Better Call Saul, I feel like is just an extension. I still can't hear you. The Better Call Saul is a perfect extension to Breaking Bad. I just think it's so great. I don't consider it a separate show because it is, but and I know people that like it better, but it's perfect, guys. Thank you.
That was really good.
Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Death Note's the best anime. If you think otherwise, you deserve to be in a mental institution.
They're both great. Check them all out.
All right.
Peace.
That's everything. Bye.